You are closer than you think. Keep going. The rain pattered softly outside, and Aisha sat hunched over her desk, her textbook spread around her like a fortress. Her eyes were heavy, her head pounding, but she kept staring at the same page again and again. The words refused to stay in her memory. Maybe I should just stop, she whispered to herself, closing the book with trembling fingers. She had been preparing for her medical entrance exam for nearly 2 years. 2 years of sleepless nights, endless practice tests, and sacrificing everything she once enjoyed. And yet, here she was, feeling more defeated than ever. Her friends had already started their university journeys, sharing smiling pictures online, while she was still stuck in the same cycle of studying and doubting. She thought of her father, working extra hours to pay for her classes, and her mother, whose whispered prayers filled every corner of the house. A lump rose in her throat. She didn't want to disappoint them, but the weight of failure pressed so heavily on her chest that she could hardly breathe. The next morning, as she sat silently at the breakfast table, her mother placed a cup of tea in front of her and looked into her tired eyes. "You look exhausted, Beta," her mother said softly. "But remember this: when someone is climbing a mountain, the journey feels hardest just before reaching the top." Aisha managed a weak smile, but inside she thought, what if I'm not anywhere near the top? What if I've been fooling myself this whole time? Later that evening, scrolling aimlessly through her phone, she came across a simple quote: "You are closer than you think. Don't quit now." Her heart skipped a beat. She read it once, twice, and then a third time. For the first time in weeks, something inside her stirred. Could it be true? Could she really be closer to her dream than she imagined? From that day forward, she carried those words in her heart. On nights when she felt too tired to study, she whispered them to herself. On days when her mock test scores shattered her confidence, she wrote them at the top of her notebook. Closer than you think. Weeks passed, filled with both breakdowns and breakthroughs. She cried quietly when no one was watching, but she always picked up her books again, because somehow those words reminded her that every step forward, no matter how small, was bringing her closer. Then the exam day arrived. The huge hall was filled with students, each one gripping pens, calculators, and nerves. Aisha's hands trembled as she wrote her name on the answer sheet. For a terrifying moment, her mind went blank. What if I fail? What if I wasted 2 years of my life? But then she remembered the nights she had studied until dawn, the sacrifices her parents had made, and the little voice that had carried her this far. Don't quit now. She took a deep breath, steadied her shaking hands, and began. 3 hours later, as she placed her pen down, she wasn't sure what to feel. Relief? Fear? Hope? All of them tangled together as she walked out of the exam hall. The wait for results felt endless. Some nights, she prayed for a miracle. Other nights, she prepared herself for disappointment. Finally, the day of results arrived. Sitting in front of the computer, her fingers shook as she typed in her roll number. Her heart thundered as the screen loaded. And then there it was. Her name, her score, her admission. For a moment, she couldn't believe it. Tears blurred her vision, but they were tears of joy this time. She had made it. She had reached the dream that once felt impossible. Aisha leaned back in her chair, remembering every moment she had wanted to give up. Every night she thought she was wasting her time. Every time failure seemed certain. In all those moments, she had been standing just steps away from this victory. She just couldn't see it then. Her mother's words came back to her. The climb feels hardest near the top, and now she understood. Aisha's journey reminds us of something powerful. When you feel like giving up, you may actually be closest to your breakthrough. Many people quit at the very edge of success, never realizing how close they truly were. So, when life feels unbearable, when the path seems endless, and when doubt screams the loudest, remember Aisha's story. Remember that the finish line might be just around the corner. Because truly, you are closer than you think. Keep going.